Hey guys, it's Tinker Taylor here today, back with another Pokemon build series video. Today we have Politoed, who is the cutest little frog-looking toad Pokemon ever. It looks like a little green frog that's standing on its back legs, and it's got a little green, it's mostly green, but on its tummy it's got a little yellow patch, but then there's a little green swirl in it. It's got these cute little red cheeks, and then a weird little blue antenna type thing. I don't know, it's cute, and it is a water type, and originally I wanted it to be like a sandcastle, or like, I was actually kind of going more like a court, because this guy kind of reminds me of like a little court jester almost, and I thought it would be really cute to do sort of like a sand court, I guess. Not as in like a courthouse as in what you and I know it, but more like a court as in like a king's court type thing, you know what I mean? Where it's kind of just, that's where the king's court meet, or the queen's court meets. And I pivoted a lot. As you could probably already see, this is not court looking at all. It is a swamp home. I don't know, I looked at this Pokemon and I was like, it would be really cute to do something like that, but then yeah, ended up doing this very weird swamp home. I wanted it to feel kind of large and imposing, and sort of almost horrific. Not quite, but I kind of wanted it to feel sort of, yeah, spooky and whatnot, but it ended up not being that, and kind of is going back to being not cute per se, but cuter than what I was originally intending, which kind of works out because the Pokemon is cute, and it doesn't make sense to kind of make it like horrific when it's a cute Pokemon, you know? So I was a little bit all over the place with the ideas for this build. I also did, I'd say a third of this build about a month ago, and then 2/3 of this build I did 2 days ago. 2 days ago, 3 days ago? I don't know. 3 days ago. I've honestly, I don't know how time works anymore. It's, all the days are kind of blending into one, and I just feel like I sit down and it's just like 10,000 things are happening all at once, and then I blink and it's 5 days later. So yeah, there's been a little bit of a busy time period for me. But yeah, this build is interesting. So it is 5 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, plenty of living spaces. One of the bedrooms is a quote-unquote bedroom. It's kind of, well, it's a bedroom. It functions as a bedroom. It is a bedroom, but when you look at it, you're kind of like, that's like tiny. It's absolutely tiny. The other ones are actually like decently sized, and you could fit quite a bit of furniture in there, but that one is very small. And you're right, it is very small. I don't know, I just felt like doing a smaller room for that one. So there is, on the entry level, a bedroom and a bathroom, and then some living spaces, kitchen, dining, a bar room as well, I guess you'd call it. And then on the next floor is the rest of the bedrooms and another communal space, and then the top floor is the last communal space. So there is, yeah, quite a bit going on in this build, but I kind of like it. I like how it is. I like how disjointed and weird, and like, it kind of feels like they just kept building and building and adding to it, and that's kind of the vibe I was going for, was, yeah, like something that they just kept building with. Also, apologies if you hear weird noises in the background. My roommate just decided to start drumming. I live with a drummer. I also live with a guitarist. So yeah, usually finding a moment in the day to have quiet moments to record. It was a lot easier in the last house, because I was not close to the drummer, but now I share a wall with them basically. So, I say basically, we do. There's 2 closets in between. One's mine, one's theirs. But they're on the other side of the wall, and so yeah, if you hear them drumming from time to time in the background, I do apologize for that. Yeah, you'll never hear the proper drums though, even though the proper drums are right outside my room. Originally we had a music room, and the music room idea became an office, and the office that was originally meant to be an office has now become a smaller music room that's not going to fit the drum kit. So yeah, I don't know. Things have that it didn't relate to me, so I didn't really pay attention to it. But now, yeah, I just realized like the drums are right outside my room, so fingers crossed my roommate only plays those drums like once in a blue moon like usual, or when I'm not home preferably. But anyway, not the point. You guys are not here for about drumming. Wow, let's say that properly. You're not here for drumming. You are here for the build. So let's keep on keeping on with the build. Yeah, I don't know. With this one, I did have a lot of fun trying to make it weird and wacky and whatever. And because I did start it so long ago, this does not have the newest kit, the Grange Mudroom kit. I think that's what it's called. But if you're ever wondering what packs and kits I've used, I always put it down in the description below. And I'm actually recording them all down in a spreadsheet so that I can kind of give an analysis on, you know, what I have and haven't done. And my problem is I just haven't updated the spreadsheet, so I have so many screenshots of the of the packs and kits that I've used for each build, and I just need to put it in the little spreadsheet, but they are in the description of the videos for this whole series. Because yeah, I don't know, like some of them you guys probably want to like know what's been used. I'm pretty sure for this one I used almost every pack. Not almost every pack, but it feels like it. I don't know, whenever I use like a third of them, it feels like I've used every single pack of them. I was gonna check, but I accidentally logged out of my phone and now I have to relog in. I'll do that later, because again, we're here for the video. Can you tell I'm a little distracted? I think this is just the new me. I think I'm just going to be perpetually distracted, so I do apologize to anybody who this frustrates. So yeah, no, the build. So I did also try and theme some of these rooms as well, the bedrooms. So I do end up going for a sort of sport themed room. By sport themed I mean I put one piece of gym equipment in, and I put in I think a football and a soccer ball. Interesting fact about the word soccer, I know a lot of people debate whether or not it should be called football or soccer. I learnt quite recently, and by quite recently I mean probably 18 months ago, that the name for soccer actually originated, like the word soccer originated in the UK because it was the Football Association, and then they called it ASOC, and then they called it soccer, and then the Americans started using the word soccer and the British didn't like it, so they went back to calling it football. So yeah, that's an interesting little lesson there. I personally call it soccer because in Australia we have different types of football and we don't need to get even more confused between all of the types. So yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's got that oval shaped ball and it's got the spherical shaped ball from the two popular sports. I don't want to say the most popular sports, but two very popular sports. So yeah, that's the sport room, and then I ended up doing an art room. That one I had a little bit fun with. So I tried to make the rooms, not just the bedrooms, but the whole place seem like everything was kind of just collected off the side of the road sort of thing, or picked up from the dump, or, you know, these things have been owned by these people for a bajillion years, and I don't know, it was really, really fun to try and put it all together. So what I did was place down a bunch of rugs, and then I also mismatched furniture and everything like that. So in the art room, you'll see that I actually put a desk in that's made of an old door. I love it. I'm pretty sure it's from the Werewolf pack. It's absolutely amazing. So yeah, if you are interested to know where that one's from, I'm pretty sure it's the Werewolf pack, but I think it works really, really well in the art room because it feels like something an artist would do, you know, take an old door and, you know, just because you're an artist doesn't mean you are a woodworker, you know, you could be a painter, but that doesn't make you a natural woodworker. Just because you're good at one type of art doesn't make you good at all. So I thought, yeah, it just kind of really matched, and I wanted the furniture to look like it had been partially painted and whatnot, because again, just because you can paint a beautiful portrait doesn't mean you can paint a door, you know? I know it seems simpler to paint a door, but you've got to use the right tools and the right paint and all that sort of stuff. It's a, you know, you gotta do it properly. Although it's probably not all that hard to paint a door. If you can paint a portrait, you could probably paint a door. I'm not saying you can't. It's just different techniques, different. You need wood paint. I tried painting a canvas with wood paint once, and I couldn't figure out why the paint was weird. And yeah, it's because it was wood paint, and it took me forever to figure that out. But I'm not an artist, so that'd probably be why I was having problems with it. But yeah, no, so there's the art room, there is the sort of, I guess, music room. I wrote down when I was listing the rooms, you know, in my little list of things to talk about, I wrote werewolf/band because it is a werewolf themed room, kind of like a werewolf hangout, I guess, but also, yeah, it's a band room, so there is a musical instrument in there, just one. And then the last one is kind of just a reading, like someone who's really into reading. I don't know why, like I was really struggling trying to think of what something different I could do. I was going to do something like knitting or, I don't know, something like that, but I was like, I feel like if you lived here specifically in this house and you were knitting or crocheting or anything like that, your projects would get covered in dirt and dust and wood chips. I don't know where the wood chips came from, but there's going to be wood chips everywhere. Like, it's just one of those places where, like, it's just everywhere. I don't know why. The artist is fine. Like, if you're painting, not a problem. But if you're crocheting, I guess it's because yarn and wool pick up dirt and debris really easy. Like, stupidly easy. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I don't know why I went with the reading. Probably because I was so desperate to read. Unpacking my books was one of the first things I packed, one of the first things I unpacked. Like, I'm pretty sure I set up my bed and then I unpacked my books. I don't think my clothes were even hung up and put away. I think I did my books first, because that's all I wanted to do, was just be able to pull out a book and read. And yeah, I've read only one book since moving in, but I started on a second. But I'm still switching back and forward between reading and writing, so, you know, they both take up my time. And by writing, I mean opening the document, writing a sentence, and then staring at it for 6 hours, and then walking away, and then repeating the process the next day. Look, it's I get moments where, like, I get really into it and I can write, like, a couple of paragraphs, and then there's a sentence and I just get stuck, and I'm like, how do I say this? And I'm currently stuck on that, and I know what I want to say, because I've written this chapter before, and then I decided I wanted to have it written completely differently, because I wanted to include something that wasn't originally going to be included in the world. I don't know, I was going to have, like, no technology in the world, no, like, modern electronic technology, and then I was like, no, we could use modern electronic technology, so I rewrote it with the technology, and now I don't like it, and I want to go back, so now I have to rewrite it and go back, but I started writing it differently, so now the beginning is, like, the very first line of the chapter is different. Of course, it's chapter 1 as well, because if you know anything about me, I never get past chapter 3. It's my goal. I pretty sure I said this in a previous video, but I want to get the 3 books I'm currently writing, or I say writing. One of them has a chapter 1, and two of them have a chapter 1 and part of a chapter 2, and one of them is just a plot, but the plot one is probably going to be my favourite, which is why I'm leaving it a little bit, so that I can stew in the plot and figure out what I want to do and what I want to say and how I want to sort it out and whatnot. But yeah, I'm determined to get all 3 of them completely finished chapter 3 by the end of this year, which, like, that's doable if I just sit down and do it. I could probably knock it out by the end of the week, but I'm not going to. I'm going to be honest with myself, I'm not going to. It's going to take me a while to finish it, and I'm kind of okay with that, because I'd rather spend time making it good, you know? I don't necessarily know if I'm ever going to share it. It's just something I want to write for me, you know? I don't know, I find writing to be very therapeutic and relaxing, so I think that's something I'm going to try and do a little bit more often than not. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the getting stuck on the sentence thing, it really drives me up the wall. I think I just need to sit down and write. I think that's my issue, is that I'm just trying to perfect it too much and trying to make it make sense, and you know, if you don't do it at all, it's never gonna get done. At this point, I may as well just write it poorly and have it done so that I can go back and fix it, rather than trying to perfect it as I go. But that's not me. I'm really bad at it. I try and perfect it a little too much, and it's not great. Definitely do not recommend it. I recommend that if you are doing something and you want to get it done, getting it done poorly is better than not getting it done at all, you know? That's currently where I sit. So yeah, look, I'm hoping to get these things done, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I don't know. I've also wrote, like, everything I wrote down to talk about in this video, I'm done, and we're only like halfway, so I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm completely out of ideas of what to talk about, but I'm not out of ideas what to build. So before, earlier, I talked about a spreadsheet I've made, and in that spreadsheet, it's not just recording what packs and kits I've used, it's recording all the ideas, all the types, all the Pokemon names, like all the details I could possibly put in. And yeah, I put in a good amount of details. If I go to the spreadsheet, where do I find it? Over here. Nope. I always get lost in this spreadsheet. There's so much going on in this spreadsheet that I always get lost. Yeah, I've written, out of all current gens up to Gen 9, I've got ideas for 30% of them. So, you know, Gen 1 we've already completely finished. Gen 2 I've almost finished ideas. I don't know, it's just like there's so much that I could do, and I love all the different little ideas that I come up with. So yeah, I don't know, like, I'm not worried about running out of ideas. I'm running out of how to complete these ideas. You know what I mean? Like, it's I don't know. The next couple of ones I'm pretty excited about. They seem like a bit of fun and something I could really, really do. But there are some that you get further along in my idea list, and it just, like, what does that even mean? That doesn't make any sense. But I'm gonna try my best, you know? Like, I've got one that's African inspired, which I'm pretty excited about. I want it to be this beautiful home, like, I don't know how to explain it, like a beautiful, not a holiday home, but like I want it to be at like a wildlife park. Now my problem is finding a lot in the world that gives that vibe, so I'm gonna be definitely doing a lot of research for that build in particular. But sometimes I just write things like library, like, okay, what sort of library? I think ones where I give myself words like library are my hardest ones, because I'm gonna have all these clashing ideas in my head. You know, one of them I wrote bar, but I didn't just write bar, I wrote dark witch bar. So now I know that, okay, I want it to be like really moody, I want it to be really witchy, so I'm going to put in like lots of Realm of Magic things, probably some vampire stuff, you know, use a lot of the occult items in that bar, and it makes sense, you know? Like, I can make it make sense. Whereas, yeah, when I just write library, like, what kind of library? Do I want it to be a very formal, old-style library? But this is where my notes comes in. So, in one column, I've got the build idea. If you scroll over a little bit, which I didn't do until just then, I did actually write notes next to it. So I want it to be quiet, glass, clean, and oddly spooky, apparently. And a dark witch bar. Apparently I want to be historically accurate with that. I don't know what that means, but yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I just want to have fun with it. I wanna try all these different things, and I think it's so fun having a little series like this where I can do so many different things and I can try out so many different styles. I know there's a lot of people out there who, like, when you look at the build, you're like, oh, that's that person, you know? Like, I could say Blue Suburban, and you guys know who I'm talking about already. I don't really watch the Blue Suburban videos, to be honest. I watch a lot of different ones, but the Blue Suburban videos, not so much. But I know because it's talked about so much. You know, I know who you're talking about if you say Blue Suburban. But I don't feel like I have a particular style. I don't have a particular thing that is my go-to. I don't really have a you know, you don't look at any of my builds and go, oh, that's clearly them. I mean, you might, but I personally don't. I don't see it. I don't know where that crossover is. I don't know where, you know, is it grungy, dirty builds where you guys go, oh yeah, that's a Taylor build. Is it? I don't know. I honestly have no clue what it is that you guys look at when you, like, what style you see when you see my builds. Or is it just an amalgamation of everything else? For me, it's an amalgamation of everything. Like, I like to try all these different styles and stuff. And it's not because I'm trying to perfect them all, which, you know, that would be my first thought. But I think it's because I just want to explore and have fun and try all these different things. So, you know, if you're trying to get out of a creative rut where you feel like you can only do one style of thing, I definitely recommend trying something like this. Definitely not this, because this is a stupidly big series, but like, pick 10 Pokemon if you want to do a Pokemon thing. Maybe pick one of each type. Yeah, actually, you know what? Maybe just do the types. You know, do a build that's inspired by all the dark types and a build that's inspired by all the water types. That's actually how I first got into this whole thing. There is a Twitch streamer named Tiny Snub who is fantastic and amazing and wonderful, and she made a shell challenge where you have to well, you don't have to. She made a room shell, and she wanted you to build it inspired by Pokemon. Pokemon types specifically. So I went ahead and I did all 18 types. They're in my channel somewhere. I think they're called Pokemon Room Build Series, maybe? I don't know. I did it last year, the year before, or something like that. It was a while ago. And yeah, that's kind of what I did, and it was the same shell, it was the same room, but I did so many different styles of things. Like, I built a sewer for one of them. I built a like a very zen office space with a bathroom. It was kind of like, you know, like, think of you know how some people have the, like, little office spaces in their backyards where it's just like a little I don't want to say shed, but shed. And I kind of wanted to lean into that vibe a little bit, but I wanted it to be very zen. So I used a lot of Snowy Escape things. I think I might have even only used Snowy Escape in that. But it had, like, a living space so you could sit down and read in the little book area. There was, like, a little book nook. I even put a little bathroom in there, so if you're working away that you can go sit in the bathroom. I might have even put like a kitchenette in. I cannot remember if I did or didn't, but it's like a little office space. But I imagined it in the back of someone's garden, in the back of their house, just so that they had a separate space to work. And then what else did I do? I don't know, there's 18, and I can only remember a handful of them. There was a psychic's room. There was a... You know what, I'm not going to spoil them all. If you want to go check it out, definitely go check it out. But yeah, if you're looking for ideas on things like that, like how to get out of creative ruts, that's definitely my recommendation, is pick a thing that has multiple different things. That doesn't make... Pick a concept or a topic or a show or a movie or a seasons, or like pick anything. Picking seasons, there's 4 different builds you could do, and you could do like maybe for winter you're thinking, oh well, like maybe I'm inspired by like Elsa, so let's make an Ice Queen's palace. But maybe someone else might think, oh, like let's do like a log cabin in the middle of the woods in the snow. Like that's kind of fun and cute. Some people might think like, oh, we where I live there's snow at Christmas, so I could build a little Christmas scene. Personally, I do not have snow at Christmas. I don't have snow ever where I am. Most of Australia does not. Few places yes, but majority no. And it's too hot for snow. We are in the opposite season to you snow seasoned people who have winter during Christmas. We're in the opposite season. But yeah, no, the what was I saying? Yeah, the idea is like you could do so many different things. You could even just take the concept of like winter, just take the concept of winter and see how many different things you could build for it. So like I said, you could do the log cabin, you could do a Christmas scene, you could do the ice palace. What else? You could do an ice skating rink. I can't think of anything else, but like you could come up with so many different ideas. For summer you could do a pool, like a local pool hangout spot. You could do a beach scene, you could do a beach house. I can't really think of anything else. But, there's just off the top of my head a few different things that you could do for that. We call it autumn here, but some people call it fall. But in autumn, a lot of people do, putting pumpkins and stuff like that. But we don't really do that sort of stuff here for fall, for autumn. So for me, autumn is just about nature, and I get that pumpkin is nature and leaves changing is nature, but I probably would do a cabin in the woods for that one personally. Just the seasons changing, and I can imagine a cabin in the woods sort of in the midst of change. Maybe they're moving in or moving out, or there's a new addition to the family, or I don't know, it could be anything, but there's some sort of change. So that's kind of what I would imagine for that. But I know a lot of people would think of pumpkins and anything like that. For some reason people sometimes think gingerbread. I don't know why, because I thought that was a Christmas thing, but I might also be mixing up the two myself, so it could be anything. But yeah, also another one, if you are looking for more ideas, just go to James Turner's website. He has so many random generators that I'm sure you could find something, anything that would help you be helped with ideas. So yeah, I don't know how we ended up on that little tangent of information, but yeah. This is the little bedroom that we're working on now that I was telling you about, that it's kind of like, it doesn't really have a theme, it's just a bedroom. But I made sure to put a little desk in there, and a bed, and a wardrobe, and a mirror. So yeah, like kind of all the things that I feel like in real life you would need. And I think I just go around putting some last minute decor around because the hallway is kind of empty, and the outside is a little bit empty, and then I do some landscaping to finish us off. I also did put screenshots in the end. I didn't put screenshots of every room, but of some of the rooms, some of the bedrooms, some of the living spaces and whatnot. So definitely let me know down below, like, do you want to see pictures of all of the rooms when I'm finished with them, or do you just want to see, like, a random selection of them? And by random, I mean I'm gonna pick good ones, you know, I'm gonna try and pick ones that you guys I think you might want to see. But definitely, like, yeah, definitely let me know, like, do you guys want to see more or less photos than what is happening? Because in the last video, I put in pictures of every room. In fact, I'm pretty sure some rooms might even have 2 photos, whereas this one, not every room got a photo. There's a couple photos outside, there's a couple photos inside, and that's pretty much it. So definitely let me know, because yeah, I said this in the last video, but somebody asked for me to add screenshots at the end, and here I am adding screenshots at the end, and I just wanna know, like, how many do you want to see, how many is too many, how many is not enough. Because to be honest, with screenshots and stuff like that, I I usually just take one for the thumbnail and that's it. But I'm happy to take more. Like, it's maybe an extra 2 minutes of my time. I'm happy to do it. So yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions and whatnot down below on that, because like I said, I'm happy to do it. It's just, how much do you guys want to see? Because again, like I said, it's like an extra maybe minute or 2 taking screenshots, and maybe an extra minute or 2 to add screenshots at the end of my video editing process. Like, it's not difficult. I'm happy to do it. I'm pretty sure I was just lazy. That's why I think in the very beginning, when I first started making videos, I did do it. There's a lot of things that I did do that I stopped doing, and things that I didn't do that I started doing, and I don't know. Video editing for me is just like a constantly changing thing. It keeps moving and changing, and I do different things, and I'm happy to adjust and change and whatnot, which is, you know, I don't normally like change, and I don't like normally doing things differently, but I think I'm just at the point in my life where I'm like, change is inevitable, sure, let's do it. And that's as far as my little pea brain has gone with all of that. But yeah, like I said, we're kind of at the end with some landscaping. I didn't have tool at this point. I had all my mods disabled because, yeah, like I said, the last 2/3 of this video is me doing it quite recently, and I'd only just updated my game, so all of my mods were disabled and whatnot. I have since re-enabled them, but I haven't used them yet per se. I haven't used Tool yet. I use Better Build By though, all the time. It thankfully did not need an update, so I did not have to go in and uninstall and reinstall it. It was a huge problem. Like, I couldn't get into the lot to uninstall it, to hopefully reinstall it, but I checked and it didn't need to be reinstalled. And the reason why I couldn't get into the lot was because of Tool. If you're ever having problems, fully disable your mods, uninstall them if you have to, and then try whatever it is you were trying again. And if it still doesn't work, then your problem is probably the game and not mods. But 90% of the time, if you have mods, it's mods. And you know, I'm kind of glad that I've been not playing the game for the last 2 to 3 weeks, because it's given modders time to work and fix on their mods, and for me to not even have to think about it or worry about it. And I actually saw a message earlier today saying that there should be some more updates for the mods that I use coming out tomorrow, which is fantastic, because I love these mods and I will wait until the end of time for them to update. And it's kind of like the time where I'm coming back into it where they're updating, so that's really perfect timing. So Twisted Mexi, I love you, you're amazing, you're fantastic, and you have perfect timing. It's beautiful. But yeah, if you are somebody who uses mods, be patient. Just be patient. But anyway, we are about to move into some screenshots here. Once I finish messing around with this terrain paint. But yeah, there you go. There is our 5-bedroom, 1-bathroom swamp house. I imagine this is like, you know, a bunch of young people live here. Perhaps they go to university. I don't know. Maybe some of them do. Maybe some of them don't. I have a feeling that the werewolf band guy goes to university. I don't know. That person goes to university. The gym, you know what? They can all go to uni. They can do whatever they want. But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you want to see more stuff like this, make sure to subscribe. I'm normally doing one video a day, but at this point we're going to probably have more than one a day for a little bit until I catch up. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys.